One, two, one, two, one, two. One, two, one, two. Yo. Yeah. I promise to do a video every, at least 3 videos a day, but I've been busy today, so I just want to throw this one together real quick. Drop some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to help people understand, to achieve freedom, justice, and equality. Because that's what we're trying to do over here on the Volo Television, the My Part of Town podcast. We're still trying to figure out what we're going to call this new network that we're generating, this black network of entrepreneurs like ourselves that need this media to reflect us being hip hoppers, because hip hop is an American culture created by us, the children of the 1960s civil rights movement. When I say children, I'm talking about as young as Claudette Colvin or Ruby Bridges. If you're familiar with their stories and you know what happened to them back in the 60s, I myself believe that hip hop began in 1971. That's the year I was born. So that's how I reflect this culture that was given to me by my friends, family, etc. And we created it together. So that's what we about. Now we say the civil rights movement because we are talking about Malcolm X. We're talking about Martin Luther King and Stokely Carmichael, aka Kwame Ture. Now, as we go more into it, I mentioned all these names before, but that's not the topic that I wanted to go over real quick with y'all today. And I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I used to do this little podcast or little quick rap or re-rap or whatever you want to call it of what we've been doing and what we've been talking about and helping people to understand this is what we need to do in order to achieve freedom, justice, and equality. I have to repeat that. What the buzzwords you hear a lot of is critical race theory. Now, what is critical race theory? You got to get the book. I'm not going to look it up right now. I'll share that again. But there's 2 people in particular that wrote a book called Critical Race Theories as an introduction. And you really have to read that book to understand their perspective of what they see critical race theory is. Now, I can read that book. I was tempted to prove the point of it being whatever it is, whether it's psychological, philosophical. I'm sure it's not epistemological, because it's it's probably more psychological because that's what they're doing to us. They're running psychological games and testing us like we're lab rats in order to control us. Now, those that understand that are quote unquote woke. So when they mention woke all the time, it's like they're talking about black people, and it's like, yes, to a degree, yeah, they're talking about black people. But really, they're talking about hip hoppers. You know what I'm saying? Because we're on a new level of understanding life and how it works. You see, we go all the way back to the pre-existence of the mathematical, the biochemical equations. We're talking about the manifestation of God, our planet Earth, air, fire, water. You know what I mean? We talking about the elements like we Avatar, like we the Avatar. Sorry for the clicks. We'll figure that out. And I ain't gonna do it over again. I just wanted to, drop that for you real quick. And I wanted to point out, like, I wanted to do numbers as we, Mr. C, I'm gonna be on the podcast tomorrow, and I'm gonna promote it as much as I can tomorrow. My Part of Town, Mr. C, Twitch gang is what we, his site, Mr. C, MISTA, Mr. C, SEE, Twitch gang, like we a gang. And the name of the show is My Part of Town, and we record it tomorrow. And he's going to Blitzkrieg. He's going to start putting it on YouTube and all the other channels as much as he can to promote it. But check the hashtag on Twitter, because we've been talking about it on Twitter to let you know what times we're going to be on. Right now, we're just doing Mondays and Wednesdays. If y'all wanted to join us live, if y'all wanted to link up with us, you can do that there and search for us and just send a message and inbox us and send a question or something if you want us to talk about it. I know I'm going a little bit off topic a little bit because I just wanted to share how y'all can get in touch with us and what we're trying to do. Now, what we did mention at one time, and I'm not going to really rhyme on this one, was we started looking at, all right, now we're trying to build this. How we gonna make this money? How money works? Now, Mr. C has the perspective of money being a Ponzi game. Now you got to listen to him explain that, and I'm laughing because he's trying to explain how economics is a Ponzi game to a bunch of pansies, right? You know what I mean? They're really not socioeconomically woke yet. Like, you know what I mean? They don't know the difference between macro and microeconomics, let alone some Ponzi scam, right? So I'm trying to explain it on a philosophical lecture. So I just started off with, all right, here's the philosophical side, here's the philosophical socioeconomics or economics or whatever you want to call it. I'm starting to develop it as epistemological economics, alliteratively. But what I mean by that is that money is time. Let's look at it logically equivalently, and then now we can analyze, all right, where we going from there, right? But it's one thing at a time. So I'm just looking at subscription numbers. Like my sub numbers is real low on this channel here. I'm only at 20 deep. All right, whoop-de-doo. I'm gonna build it. I'll find one or two more in the next week or so. And then I'll be at 40, 50 or whatever by the time, I keep practicing and keep putting it out there and keep sharing it with friends and family, and it'll grow. But what I wanted to show you was that when I look at sites like Anthony B. Logan, who's at 970K, that's 970,000 subs. He almost got 1 million subs. And he's basically a black Republican. Now, when I say that, he does says he's a conservative, straight up, period, right? But he does also recognize that the Republican Party is full of what he calls and what a lot of black conservatives call rhinos, meaning that they're Republican in name only. They're not really Republicans. They're not really about that life, that conservative life. You know what I mean? They're more into either rightist or leftist ideologies. They're not into America as a nation. All right? Same on the other side, but we'll get on to them later because I'm really pissed off at them right now because they controlled all three of the houses. And every time a black person says, well, listen, we need help. We need to close this social wealth gap. We need some kind of reparations. Our families are falling apart. We're getting divorced. Our women are getting nothing but abortions. And they're talking about some, well, God gave you a choice, right? Or the one that kills me is like, oh, wait a minute. Look at my track record. Look at how I help black people, right? That's Biden the thing, right? And it's like, all right, now I turn to the left and right. My brother over here gets fired. My brother over here dies. My brother over here, and it's all because of the health care or whatever he should have got Obamacare. Like, they're running all these games, and then more and more information coming out about this, the vaccine or the COVID or, et cetera, et cetera. And they sitting there arguing about that. And meanwhile, we're still suffering and we're deprived and we're still, our families are breaking up and black people as we knew it from the 60s is being wiped off the face of the earth. We're now becoming African Americans like Barack Obama, who didn't know his daddy at all, so that's why I call him Barry Durham. Yes, I'm being fun, making fun of him, not necessarily for being biracial, but being, hey, he had to choose between his mother and his father. He's going to choose his mother every time. Now, how does that help black people? Yeah, I'm getting too deep for you. But like I was saying, Anthony B. Logan's at 970,000 subs, and he's a black Republican. Yet, right? Yet, he's doing great. Then I look at Jason Whitlock, who's actually should be more popular than him, because he was on the sports stations and all that, and he does man talk too. And nor does he doesn't say that he's a Republican. He says he's independent. But he's only sitting at 224,000 subs. And what's hurting him is the fact that he says that he's Christian and it's about putting Christianity first. See, Anthony B. Logan doesn't say Christianity first. Anthony B. Logan says, I got my rifle, I got my Bible, and I got my American flag. That's the black conservative way he's saying, right? Whereas Jason Whitlock is saying, I'm Christianity first. I'm about God, that my God being first. And I think that hurts him more than helping him. And that's just ironic to me, right? And then I have others. I have Professional Black's Truthers only at 117,000. But I'm gonna talk more and more about their subs and what they be talking about and how aggressive they are, or who they put first, whether it's God first or Professor Black Truth will say he's black first. And we do have our own people looking at Professor Black Truth saying he's a black supremacist. Like what? And then looking at Anthony B. Logan saying he's a sellout. Like what? We really have some issues going on. So that's why I laugh at when my brothers go, critical race theory. And then I say, well, you do have to analyze it as black critical race theory and white critical race theory. And it's like, no, you trying to separate it. You're part of the problem. Like, no, I'm just part of the solution. It's just that you don't want to look at, Booker T. Washington, Carter G. Woodson, all the great orators back of the early 1900s, late 1800s, 1850, beyond 1850 and stuff, Frederick Douglass, the ones that actually was writing, quote unquote, critical race theory, what black critical race theory was back then, and why we're still being affected by death, divorce, abortions, destruction of our neighborhoods. And we keep looking at these Democrats as to help us, when the last thing that the great Martin Luther King said was, it's going to take billions to rebuild these communities, to rebuild our families. And they keep turning their back on us. So, but I'm going to end it on that note, just giving y'all something to think about. This is real hip hop right here, not that watered down stuff, right? Check out the Hip Hop Alliance. That's one of our new unions that we're gonna be working on for artists. Check out the people that I was saying. Check out their websites. Don't just get caught up in listening to 3, 6, and 10 CBS, because you'll start seeing the CBS, even Fox. Don't get caught up in Fox. Y'all tell me I'm caught up in Fox. Like, nah. I'm not registered Republican or Democrat. I am also, quote unquote, an independent. That's what I'm registered as. So the preliminaries when it comes to Trump versus DeSantis, I can't vote. And I'm not registering to vote for Republican. It's whoever wins. You know what I mean? But then come November, when it's time to vote between a Democrat and whoever else I want to vote for, I'm not voting for them Democrats. Not until they recognize that, even though they're getting all our support, that's what Malcolm X said famously, right? You keep voting for them, they control 3/3 of the government. They keep telling you they're going to help you. And not only are you a chump for voting for them every time, not only are you a chump, but you're a traitor to your race. Look it up. Stop crying. Let's build one God. That is